Good morning, guys. How you doing? Let's just have a quick look at the screen. Let me see who's in the room. Hi, Sue. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Linda. Hi, Margaret. Yeah, my back and shoulders are a lot better. Not quite 100% yet, but I'm off to see my massage therapist, Lisa, tomorrow, so hopefully she'll fix me. But yeah, a lot better than they were last week. So I thought today what we'd do a little strength sequence on lower back, glutes, etc. Some work on mid-back. So we'll do some poses pros with the face down work, but we'll also go through a little standing inchworm sequence. And I'm going to add in quite a few balance poses today, including tree pose, which we'll do reclined as part of our kind of warm-up as well, just to get into the shape of the pose. But yeah, a little bit of balance work today. You might need straps, you might not, it just depends. One of the balance poses that we're going to be doing is just going to be the one where we try and grab hold of the leg. So if you've got a strap at hand, obviously you can use that. If not, you can just hold the back of the thigh instead. But we're going to start from our recline position. Yeah, it looks like we're all live and going. So come down slowly, give your knees a bit of a hug, let your head rest, and just drop your shoulders. Just take a couple of really good big breaths, feeling that release of tension as you exhale. So just allow your body to sink. And then let your arms and legs just drop to the ground wherever they feel comfortable. Straighten your legs to the bottom of your mat, give them a bit of a shake, feel them go floppy. And if it's comfortable, you're allowing them to rotate slightly outwards. If this is too much to begin with, if you've got a lot of tension in the lower back or the hips, you might prefer to have a little bend in the knees or the heels planted. But just find a comfortable position to start off your class, to do your relaxation. We'll do a little bit of breathing, a bit of pelvic floor work. If you're new to the sessions, obviously with it being YouTube, I've got no idea who's tuning in. So if you are new to yoga sessions, especially with me, just be aware that you're working at your own pace, yeah? I will demonstrate easy options, hard options. If I'm doing something that you don't like the look of, if it's a pose that you think may aggravate an injury or a condition, don't do it. You're quite welcome to send me messages and I'll try and send you advice if need be, if you're not sure about something. But work at the point where you're pushing yourself so that you're challenging your body. It feels a little bit intense, but never should you feel pain in any of the poses or any of the movements that we do. So we're going to start just with simple breathing, simple abdominal breath, box breathing, which is basically just trying to breathe as our body is designed to breathe, which is filling the lungs up as we inhale, pausing for a moment so our bodies can grab hold of that oxygen, emptying the lungs comfortably as we exhale. We tend to breathe really short and shallow. We don't get rid of all the breath. We don't fill the lungs and refresh the breath that's in there. So you're trying to really empty the lungs comfortably and then just pause at the end of your exhale and start the whole cycle. So I think there's 4 parts to each breath. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause. And we're just trying to make each part a little bigger. So we're gradually increasing the depth of our breath. We're making it more efficient. And what you should also find is your breathing will just slow down a lot as well. And for this, you can breathe through the nose, inhale and exhale. You can do Ujjayi breath, where you're drawing the breath to the back of the throat, almost like we're gulping the breath in. Or you can just breathe easy, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, whatever feels comfortable for you. But also try and feel that you're bringing the breath low into the body. We're not breathing shallow, yeah? Chest, upper body. If it helps, one hand on the breastplate, try not to move it. Feel that your breath is coming lower down, abdominal area, lower ribs. And we're going to take a good minute today, just really feeling that breath grow, feel it get bigger, but trying to connect with the feeling of just unclenching, feeling your body just relax into your floor as you breathe out. We want to feel that we're just letting go of all that tension we hold on to without even realising it. Okay, now just start to wiggle your fingers and toes gently, just wake them up. Start to move your hands and feet, loosen out your wrists, your ankles. If you've got your eyes closed, you're going to open them. Just move your face, in fact, just kind of open and close your mouth. Stretch the muscles of the face. And then take a big breath in, arms are going to reach out, push out through the feet and just stretch and lengthen, drawing your upper body away from your lower body, and then just soften and let your arms rest. Step your feet in. Plant your feet hip width and start to rock your hips and pelvis. So just get your pelvic girdle moving around. So we're working lower back, working abdominal area, hip flexors, groin area. And we're just getting a sense of how we feel at this point. But we're also trying to charge or fire up your glute muscles, your bum muscles. So as you're rocking forwards and back, start to clench and relax, squeeze and release. And you can make these movements as slow, as gentle, as vigorous as you're comfortable with, basically. So obviously, if you've got any issues or if you're not sure, you can go really slow, really gentle. If it feels fine, speed it up a little bit, make the movement bigger. So you're always pushing within your kind of limits, your range. We're never trying to force the body into anything severe, anything extreme. You want to gradually encourage it to move there. Okay, and then start to roll the hips around, just circle. Nice and easy to begin with. If it feels okay, you can make those movements bigger. And then change the direction. Okay, come back to neutral, grab your knees and just gently circle them both together to start. So they're moving in the same direction. You can cross your ankles here if that feels more comfortable. Okay, reverse it. Okay, now we're going to let the knees come a little wider apart and we're going to do opposite circles. So think they come towards each other and then they move away from each other. So just doing 2 single circles with them. Working into the hips, the groin area. Working into the ball and socket part of your hip joints. Okay, and then just reverse the direction, go the other way, out and around. Okay, grab hold of the backs of the thighs, draw the knees towards you, and just gently clasp and hold the hands so we're supporting the weight of the legs. Let your back sink into the floor again so you feel quite heavy. Look at your feet, give your toes another wiggle. And then start to circle your ankles. So because we're doing a little bit of standing mobility work today, it is important that your ankle joints are mobile. They act as your shock absorber. They also help to balance you. If you have a little bit of a twitch and you wobble, you've got more chance of catching it if your ankle joints are supple, if your ankle joints are mobile. Whereas if they're rigid, that rigidity just goes all the way up to the knees, the hips. So just loosening your ankles by rolling them around both ways and then point and flex them forwards and back. Okay, let them just go loose, but we're going to move to happy baby pose now. So we're letting the knees come a little wider and we're just bringing them into the armpits. Now, if you find this is enough, you're just going to hold the hands again behind the legs. Otherwise, you can reach up to grab your shins. Let your legs come a little further out. Or you can even grab the outer edges of your feet. So we can gently pull down as if we're pulling our knees in the direction of our armpits or our shoulders. And just feel yourself get heavy again. Relax. Feel your lower back. You're going to have that little soft gap between the small of your back and the floor. That's fine. But we want to feel the back just gently sink into the floor. And we'll just hold it still today. We're just going to hold it and relax into it. Really nice pose. It's a good preparation for things like squatting, any deep flexion into the hips. It's also a great pose for releasing pressure and compression off the spine. Really good for digestive health as well. It stimulates your internal organs, your digestive flow, because we're squashing everything down. So when we come out of the pose or when we move in the pose, we get that rush of circulation. So we're going to bring the feet to the floor now, keep them wide, step out and rock up onto the back of the heel bone so the sole of the foot is lifted, and just very loosely start to roll through your hips. Okay, so a little windscreen wiper action. One leg's going to fall in, one leg's going to fall out. If you like, or if it feels too easy, you're going to start to grab hold of the inner thigh as the leg falls outwards and just encourage it as if you're pulling it a little deeper to the floor. Okay, bring your feet back together. Have your knees and feet touching, but bring your feet a little closer up towards your bum. Arms are going to flop out. Relax your shoulder blades so you feel quite heavy across your upper body, and loosely let the legs fall left. Okay, and then we come back up and we let them fall right. I'm just going to keep this flowing, so just keep rolling across. So you're rolling right over the soles of your feet. We're tipping from the little toe edge of one foot to the little toe edge of the other. Try and keep the legs stacked or squeezed together if you can, just because that will put more of the movement into the spine, yeah, rather than if we let our legs move apart, you're just going to end up going back into that hip mobility. Just a variation on that. So we want to try and imagine we've just got one leg rather than two now. Okay, come back to centre. Step your feet together, let your knees fall out to cobbler's pose. And just, again, have a fidget, find your natural curve for your lower back. Hands are just going to gently press out. So we're encouraging that stretch through the groin, the inner thigh, across your belly, particularly your pelvic belly area. So that's below your belly button, above your pubic bone. And we just want to feel this area soften. So take a few deep breaths, just feel that rise and fall. Try not to clench your bum or your thighs while you're doing this. Just feel your legs go heavy. You can close your eyes again if that helps, but focus on the deep layers now, the layers below the surface, the muscles that we can't feel or touch with our hands. And we're going to think about our pelvic floor muscles drawing upwards and our deep layers drawing inwards as we breathe out, as we exhale. So we're just going to do a little bit of pelvic floor work. So visualising pubic bone, tailbone, sit bones, that's where our pelvic floor attaches. And as we breathe out, we're lifting those muscles upwards, but we're also trying to feel that we're drawing the front of our abdomen inwards. So we're getting this kind of two-way brace. Yeah, pelvic floor lifts up, abdominal wall draws in. So we're just engaging deep. And we're trying to get this feeling of squeezing these muscles really firmly and then just letting them relax again. And we'll do about 5 or 6 breaths. So work at your own speed. Okay, now we're going to do one more, but this time as we lift, instead of lifting and then relaxing again, we're going to lift and see if we can hold it. And today we're going to go for as long as you can. So we'll aim for a good 20 seconds if possible. So just breathe easy. I'm not asking you to hold your breath. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, you're going to really lift up through the pelvic floor. And you're going to try and hold that contraction and just breathe easy. It's difficult to breathe big. You'll notice the breathing is suddenly a lot smaller because we're not allowing that expansion, we're not allowing that movement through the diaphragm, but just breathe however you can, still feeling that you're lifting up through your pelvic floor. Okay, and then completely relax. Knees are going to come together. Just step your feet wide and let your knees rest for a moment. So we're kind of taking that pressure off this external rotation. Just let your knees squeeze inwards. It should feel really nice. Relax your belly, relax your pelvic floor. Lower back just sinks to the ground. We're just going to do an easy shoulder drill. So we'll do the one with our arms across our ribs. We let the arms fall behind the head to the floor if they'll touch. We open out to the floor along the side and then we fold back across the ribs. Okay, and we're just going to do this for about 15, 20 seconds, and then we'll reverse the direction. So if you're not sure, we start from the ribs, we go behind the head, we come out, and we come across. Okay, so it's that movement that we're trying to do. Now, if it feels really easy, you can start to increase, so you're stretching and opening out. If not, you can keep it easy, keep the elbows tucked in, so it's a smaller movement, smaller range. Okay, change the direction. So start from the ribs, but open out to the side first. Sweep it on the ground behind the head, then come over. So we sweep out, behind, and over. Okay, and then relax your arms. Right, hug your right knee up into your chest. Let your left leg drop back to the ground. Push out through that left heel. Just ease this knee in for a moment. Try to feel that your left leg is falling slightly outwards, if anything. We're going to come into recline tree pose. So it's a way of getting the shape of the pose, but without having to worry about balancing. So it just allows us to kind of relax into it. And it just kind of lets you see what range you have actually got when we're not tensing our muscles to support us all from, you know, the fear that we sometimes get when we're balancing. If you're not that comfortable with balance poses, we can sometimes clench everything without realising. So you're going to place your right foot to the floor, but as close to the inner thigh of your left leg as you can get it. And then you're going to allow your right knee to just fold outwards. So our hip bones, our little headlights on the front of our hips, we want them to still be squared up to the ceiling, so our pelvis is level to the floor. We want a slight tuck, so you're tipping a little bit out of the back of your bucket. Again, remember this when we come up to standing, this is the position that we're trying to be in. If you can make contact with your right foot on your inner thigh, great, you know, just get that feeling of pressing into it. Left leg is rolling out, but we're pushing our left heel down and away from us. So we're stretching this left leg, it feels strong. And then finally, we're just going to take a breath in, arms are going to reach back. 2 arm positions, either open out, so we're coming wide. Again, same as when we do this standing, or if you're comfortable, we're going to press the palms together, interlace the fingers, hook the thumbs, pushing up and drawing back. So we're opening through the shoulders as well. And then just think about the 3-way stretch that you're getting. Yeah, left leg is pushing down, right leg is rotating out, upper body, shoulders, arms are reaching back. So we get this general feeling of just stretching through the whole of our body. Just hold it there. Okay, change in side. So drop your arms first, stretch the right leg out, give it a little shake. Hug your left leg up to your chest first. And then plant it to the floor, close to the right inner thigh, let it fall outwards. Feel that opening of the hips. Square your hips back up, make sure that you're still level, so hip bones are up to the ceiling. We're trying to tip slightly out the back of our bucket. Our right leg is reaching down, left foot to the inner thigh if you can. Deep breath in, arms stretch back. So just to kind of highlight how much strength affects our flexibility. You know, sometimes we think that we're not flexible. That might not be the case. You might be really flexible, you just haven't got the strength to move yourself there when you're doing these poses in a standing position, for example. So I just want you to be aware while you're here, if you can get your foot on your inner thigh and your lower leg tucked all the way up, and it feels quite comfortable to do that, then there's nothing in terms of inflexibility that's stopping you, is there? You can do this pose. So when we come up to standing a little bit later on and we do it, if you can no longer do this, it doesn't mean that you're not flexible, does it? It just means that your core muscles aren't strong enough to support you. You might just be fearful of the balance, so therefore you've tightened yourself up without realising it, or you might just not have the strength to hold yourself in this position. Yeah, so it's a strength thing that you need to work on, rather than thinking I need to stretch myself more to get into these shapes. You might just need to strengthen more. So it's just a really interesting thing. So a lot of people, when they're doing a yoga pose, they automatically assume if they can't do that yoga pose, it's because they're too inflexible to do it. Not always the case. Your flexibility might be absolutely fine. Your body's just not allowing you to tap into it, your full potential, because you haven't got that strength, that structure, the stability to hold you there safely. And your brain knows that, even if your body doesn't, even if your mind's not aware of it, your brain will be saying, no, we're not safe to do this, and it won't give you that full range. So just kind of bear that in mind with a lot of poses, especially if there's a pose that you struggle with, and you think, oh, I can't do that. Might not be. Try doing it in a position where you're relaxed or you're supported somehow, maybe leaning on a wall or using a yoga strap. And if you can do it with support, then it's not flexibility that you're lacking, it's strength. Right, now I've given you my little strength lecture. I do go off on one occasionally, don't I? Okay, give your legs a good shake. And then hug your knees up into your chest. I just find this stuff fascinating, and it was real kind of penny dropping moments for me when when you've worked as a fitness instructor for years and years, and you find these little nuggets that suddenly shed light on why you perhaps haven't been able to do things. I just find it's really inspiring, and it just helps you understand, and it also kind of makes you a little bit more forgiving of yourself, because we can sometimes beat ourselves up and get frustrated if we can't do things. When we look at the reasons behind it and it becomes clearer, then often it allows you to get to where you want to be without getting so frustrated. So that's why I go off on my little rambles with you guys. Do forgive me if you've heard it all before. Right, we're going to come up to seated now. So roll onto your side, or you can rock yourself up. Sit tall. Just come into a comfortable position. So we're just sitting so we can just whiz through our neck mobility. And we're just going to do our posture first. So checking that your head is directly above your spine. We want that neutral position. So we're lifting the crown of the head up, we're pulling our shoulders down and just engage them. Feel that you're squeezing your shoulder blades behind you. Find neutral, cheeks over collarbones. Start to go through flexion and extension. Okay, come back to your neutral, gently twist from left to right. I'm going to have to turn my radiator. I feel like I'm having a hot flush, but then I just realised actually I've just got the radiator on full. Flipping menopause, you never know when you're coming or go. But yeah, if that's on full throughout the whole session, I will be melting like a puddle on my yoga mat by the end of it. Okay, so rotating left to right. And then back to neutral, we're going to lean ear to shoulder. Okay, squeeze your shoulders back. Let your head drop down, chin towards chest. Just gently move across. And then come back to centre and just drop the head nose to armpit. Hold it and breathe. Okay, changing sides. Okay, come back up to centre. Right, straighten your legs out in front. Just give them a little bit of a shake. So we're just going to do a gentle upper body mobility. So try to keep your legs together to start. So your feet are together and your legs feel fairly even. And all we're doing, we're going to take our right hand onto our left collarbone. Our left hand comes into the small of the back, and then we sweep the arms around the room and we change sides. And to begin with, we're doing arms only. So our body stays still, just opening out and around. And your range might just be halfway, or you might be able to go all the way around quite easily. Okay, now we're going to start to include our shoulders and our upper body. So we're turning from side to side. So again, you're going as far as you can. So my range is pretty limited still with these movements. My neck and my mid-back are still pretty tight. But, your range might be much bigger, it might be much less. Find what's comfortable for you. What's important is that you compare your left and your right. You should be fairly similar. We're never going to be perfectly similar. But if there's a huge difference between one side and the other, there might be something that you're doing without realising it's something like a habit that you do or a hobby that you've got where you're just encouraging more rotation on one side. Okay, and then finally we're going to let the legs go with this now. So we're allowing our lower body to move with it. So what you should find is that one leg kind of shortens in and one leg lengthens. Okay, and then come back to your centre. Draw your right leg in. Left arm is going to hug it. Right arm goes around the back. We lift up tall. We gently twist, looking over your right shoulder. If you prefer, you can take that arm over the top, so you're pushing with the back of the arm instead. But just try and shrug your shoulders down. Lift the head up. Abs gently engaged, just to stop your low back from overarching. And we're trying to keep our left leg heavy, our left buttock muscle planted on the ground. Okay, unwind, changing sides. So left leg's going to come in. Right arm is going to either hug or go over the top. Left arm goes around the back. Lift and rotate left. Okay, and then again, unwind. Right, stretch both legs out, give them a little shake. So we're going to move to a box position. So come round, hands and knees. Plant the hands directly under the shoulders, make the hands big, little softness in the elbow. Start to just work through your cat and dog. So we round up on one breath, we extend on the next. If you can, or if you want to, you can tuck your toes, lift your knees slightly off the floor, adds to the weight bearing part of this. Okay, and then round up, sit back into child pose. So we arch up, hips go back towards heels, arms extend. If you prefer, you can stack your hands, rest your forehead, or you could use obviously cushions, bricks, blankets. But just try and feel that you're sinking your hips back and down. We're going to hold it for a couple of good breaths. Okay, come back up to your box position. Right, hip flexor work then. So stretching the hip flexors. I'm going to show you hero pose. I'll show you a camel pose stretch as well. But if none of those suit you, knee issues, for example, you're going to come onto your side and do your side version instead, which I'm struggling with a little bit because I find that aggravates my back. So the one where you're lying flat, heel to bum. Yeah, hopefully you guys know which one I'm on about. Otherwise, we're going to come forwards. So hero pose first, tailbone is tucked under. We're taking the weight into the hands, so elbows are soft, shoulders are hugging you from underneath. And we're just getting that posterior tilt. So think of your bucket, we lift the hips and we tip out the back of the bucket, squeeze the bum. Keep your knees in contact with the floor. That might be enough. You might be getting a good stretch just by doing that. If that's the case, you're just going to hold it there. If you want, you can come down a little lower. If you feel comfortable here, you're going to go all the way down. Full hero pose, arms are going to extend back. So we're getting this full front body stretch, still tipping out the back of the bucket, still trying to hold it and breathe into it. Now, camel pose variation, if you don't want to do hero or your recline version, all we're doing from here is we're in our upright kneeling position. We're going to support the back, so we've got our hands resting there. Tucking the tail, so tip out the back of the bucket, lift the chest, but feel that you're leaning your hips forward. So we're trying to get the stretch more here rather than the full version where we go into a back bend. So that's just another nice way that you can stretch your hip flexors. Okay, lift the head. Come back into your box position or come up slowly. So if you've done hero, you're going to give your feet a little wiggle just to loosen out the ankles. But we're going to come down now onto our tummies, so lying completely flat. Arms going to tuck in. Rest either on your chin or on a cheek. Give your hips a little wiggle. And we're going to start just with some single leg work from here. So if you find it's more comfortable, put your hands under your hip bones so you get that little bit of padding from the hands as well, instead of hips pushing onto the floor. But it also gives you that sense of keeping a level pelvis. And we're just going to alternate left and right, just lifting and lowering. Okay, now do doubles this time. We're going to lift and hold. So pull the belly button in, push the pubic bone down. Just see if you can float the legs. Relax your toes and ankles. If that's dead easy, you can do a little paddling action. So one leg goes up, one leg goes down. And you should really feel this in your bum muscles. Yeah, they should really be doing most of the work. If you feel it in your lower back, try and engage your abs. Maybe lift up through your pelvic floor. Okay, relax the legs. Arms come to the side now. Palms are facing up. So you're letting your shoulders tip forwards. We're going to do upper body, shoulders, arms on their own first. So head stays down. Rest either on your chin or just tuck the chin in so your nose is pointing straight to the floor. Big breath into the belly as we exhale. We're going to lift the arms, push the fingers back, squeeze the shoulders together. Just hold it there. So as well as lifting the arms up, we're trying to pull the shoulders away from our ears so they're not kind of tipping up into our neck. A little softness in the elbows, don't lock them through. Okay, and then relax your arms. Now we're going to do upper body. So legs stay on the floor, arms stay on the floor, pubic bone pushes down, take a big breath in, lift the chest. Squeeze the shoulders back. So working all the muscles that run down the spinal column from neck to tail. Okay, and then relax. Right, have a little breather. So we're going to do all that again, but we're going to combine it all together. If you've got any back issues and if you find that that's too intense, you're just going to pick one of those three. Maybe do your single legs, double legs, arms or back separately. But if you're comfortable with it, we're going to start with double legs. So we take our breath in, float the legs up. Next movement, we're going to start to draw the arms up, push the fingers back. And then finally, upper body. Roll the shoulders back. If this is still too easy, or if you just want to challenge yourself, add your little paddles with your legs. Okay, and then relax your arms. Let the body just melt. Feel everything just sink back into the floor. Okay, hands come forwards. We're going to come up to easy cobra. So push up. Just rest upon your elbows. Your shoulders are sliding back and down, lifting up through the front body. Hips are tucking under, so you're still trying to push your pubic bone in into the floor, rather you're trying to pull your belly button in. So even though it's a back bend, we don't want to overarch the lower back. We're trying to get a slight pelvic tilt. So thighs and groins are pushing down. Now, if you want, you're going to come up to your full cobra. I'm not going to demonstrate it today, guys, because I still find it quite painful to do until I've had my neck looked at. So you know the drill. Hands come in, shoulders roll back, exhale, lift up slowly. But otherwise, just hold it. Take a few more big breaths. Okay, and then lower to the floor, moving yourself up. We're going to come into embryo pose. So we roll up gently. Hips go back to heels. Drop the forehead to the ground. But this time, tuck your arms in. Let them drape alongside you. So you're really broadening through your shoulders and your upper back. Okay, come back to your box position. Step your feet wide. We're going to move up through a squat. It's a nice wide base. Draw your tummy in. Look forwards and down. Hands come to knees. Start to push the floor away. And then think about lifting the chest up from the belly button. So we're trying to get the back in extension. Have a fidget if you need to readjust your feet, as long as you're symmetrical left and right. Plant the feet level, ankles are level. Head is lifting up, and then if you've got the balance, hands come to chest. If you need the hands down, either one front, one back, just try and get that feeling of growing up nice and tall. Okay, from here, forward fold. So either drop, let the body hang, or you're going to press onto the tops of the thighs just above the knee, support your back. Toes point forwards. Squeeze the bum, roll yourself all the way up to standing, and then just shake everything loose. Right, guys, grab a quick drink of water if you need one. I'm just checking that you're all still in the room with me. I have to come to the camera for YouTube. It's not the same as Facebook. I can't quite see what's going on the screen. Yes, it looks like we're still live. Good. Okay, so we're going to whisk through. We're going to do a little bit of inchworm. We'll do some simple balance stuff first, and then we'll just carry on doing inchworm, but we'll throw balance poses in front and back of the kind of sequence, if you like. So I'm just going to move my mat slightly out the way. Right. So take a moment just in mountain pose once you've had a drink. Give everything a bit of a shake. So remember, with balancing, we want to feel loose and floppy. We don't want to feel that we're tensing up. So shake out your hands, your arms, your legs. Feel the contact through the feet, wiggle your hips. And then start to think about shifting the weight into your left leg. We're going to start with just tandem stance. So left leg is soft. Right leg, we're just going to bring it in front. As if we're on a tightrope, so we're lining up our big toes if we can. I'll show you from the side angle. And then once we've got that lining up of the toes, we're trying to feel that we're really upright through the body, but we're shifting our body weight so we've got even pressure in our front and back foot. We're not loading the back leg. Yeah, we're trying to find this centre line. Okay, so it's a lateral balance. You'll find that you're a bit wobbly from side to side here. If you need to use your arms, if they help, that's fine. If you don't need to use your arms, you're going to bring them into the small of the back. Just fold them, squeeze your shoulder blades into the back body, lift the chest. Keep the tail slightly tucked. Just hold it and breathe. 2 or 3 good breaths. Okay, and then take your time. Think about changing that lead leg. So if you can, imagine you are literally on a tightrope. So we're just going to step the weight into the front leg, back leg comes through, and we line up the toes, and then we step the weight evenly front to back foot. Okay, hold it and breathe. And then feet come back into mountain pose. So simple knee lift now. So we're going to shift the weight into one leg. Knee to hip height, relax the ankle. Bucket is upright, chest is lifted again. Arms, if you don't need them, we're going to take them up this time. So tree pose position, palms together, interlace the fingers, press the index fingers, hook the thumbs. So we draw up and we squeeze our mid-back muscles. If that's uncomfortable on your shoulders, you're just going to go wide angle. Okay, let's just practice that tree pose position. And then release your arms, changing sides. So lift. Okay, again, release your arms. Shake everything loose. Okay, so starting from the front of the mat. So inchworm, forward fold. We step back through a lunge. We step back to plank. We walk to the back of the mat. We're going to include squats. So we're going to sit back into a squat, come up to standing, forward fold. We just keep moving it forwards and back, front to back of the mat. So we go through it quite basic. I'm not going to be holding the planks very long today, guys, but if you want to include a bit of strength work, just hold the plank until we catch you back up, yeah? So when we get to the back of the mat and then we move forward again, so you're just going to be holding your plank for that duration instead. You can always throw that bit in. But we'll start with a really good breath in. Arms reach up. Exhale, tipping out the front of your bucket so you can support yourself as you come down, or you can sweep the arms out. If you prefer, you can round and lower the body that way, but come down to a hanging forward fold and just take a good breath here. Okay, lift the head, soften the knees, look forward, step your right foot back to a lunge, as far back as you can comfortably go. Just move to the inside for a moment, squeeze your bum, push your right hip into it, chest is lifting up. Okay, plant the hands directly under the shoulders, abs are engaged, pelvic floor is engaged, take a big breath in, step back to plank, and then from plank we're going to scoot the hips up to the ceiling, and we're just going to walk our hands towards our feet, so we're at the back of the mat. Now from here, step your feet wide, lift the head and chest, we're going to sit back into our squat, so take your time. If you need to rock up onto tiptoes first, that's fine, but just think about pushing the hips, lowering yourself all the way back to the ground, coming up right through the crown of the head. Okay, and then back to your fold. We're going to roll up to standing, add a little back bend. So as we come up, squeeze the glutes, lean into it. Exhale, straight back into your forward fold. Look forwards, walk out to plank. Back is flat, abs are engaged, squeeze your shoulders away from your ears. Scoop your bum up to the ceiling. We're going to walk the feet to the hands. Now you can do this little baby steps. If you prefer, or if you can, you're going to keep your legs straight. Almost imagine you haven't got a knee joint and you're trying to walk your feet up. So we end up at the front of the mat again in a forward fold and then roll up. Big breath in, exhale, drop back to the floor. This time we're going to step our left leg back into our lunge. Okay, inhale, brace, lift the front body up into the back body. Right leg steps back to plank. Scoop the hips up, hands come to feet. Step your feet wide, lower back into your squat. Head lifts. Okay. Back to your forward fold, roll yourself up to standing, add a little lateral stretch this time. So we inhale, arms come up, center, so we lift directly up. We're just going to lean slightly to our left, right foot plants. Come back through center, lean slightly to your right, left foot plants. Come back to center, exhale, drop to the floor. Soften the knees. Look forwards, walk out to plank. Scoop the hips up, feet to hands. Roll yourself up to standing. Okay, this time we're going to add standing splits. So we drop to our fold, shift your weight into your left foot. Take your hands a little further forwards and a little wider. So we've got this 3-point base with our hands and our left foot. Head is just hanging down. You're going to take your right toes and just place them behind you. Now, if that's enough, if that feels challenging enough, that's what you're going to do. If that feels comfortable, we're going to start to take that right leg, roll the hip outwards and let that right leg float up to the ceiling. If that's still easy, you're then going to start to bring your hands back in. So we're trying to narrow the base. You might even be able to grab hold of your left ankle. If not, you can maybe just stay on fingertips or bring the hands a little closer But we're just trying to hold this balance. Okay, and then soften. Right leg is going to step back to your lunge. Big breath in, left foot steps back to plank. Scoop the hips up, hands to feet. Slowly step the feet wider, push back into your squat. Lift the body up. Okay, now as we come up to standing, we're going to shift our weight into our left leg. So take your time, fold into your forward fold, weight comes onto the left leg. As we roll up to standing, we're going to bring that right leg up in front this time. So we're either going just for a knee, hold the back of the knee. If you're comfortable, you're going to reach to grab your toe. Extend the leg out, lift the chest. You might even then be able to rotate that leg out to the side, but try and keep your body forward facing. Okay, and then we come back to the ground. Inhale, arms go up. Exhale, drop to your fold, look forwards, walk out to plank. Scoop the hips up, walk the feet to the hands, forward fold, soften and roll back up to standing. So we'll do that on the left side, deep breath in, exhale, drop. Shift your weight into your right leg, hands wide, take them a little bit further forwards. Keep your right leg soft at the knee, left leg, we're just going to take it back. So we're just getting an idea of how we feel balancing on this right side. And remember, one side might seem a lot more difficult than the other. If that feels easy, you're going to start to float that leg up. If it still feels easy, you're going to start to walk your hands in. Keep your eyes on your focal point, eyes on the target. Don't panic if your foot's twitching a little bit. It's just trying to find that center point, that gravity. Okay, soften the right knee, left leg steps back to your lunge. Sink your hips into the stretch. Big breath in, front body braces, right leg steps back to plank. Scoop the hips up, hands to feet, wide base, back down into your squat. Lift the head, lift the chest. Okay, so forward fold, shifting your weight into your right leg this time. So as we roll up to standing, we're going to bring that left leg up in front. So it might just be a simple knee, hold it there, or you might be able to grab hold of your toe or your shin, extend. You might then be able to open out, but try and feel that your belly button, your chest, your pubes, so this kind of straight line, we want that squared up. So we're opening through the inner thigh and the hip to get the stretch, to get the external rotation. Okay, come back down. Big breath in, arms come up. Exhale, drop. Look forwards, walk out to plank. Scoop the hips up, feet to hands. Slowly roll up. Okay, inhale, arms lifting. Okay, exhale. Last time through them, we'll do tree pose on either side this time. So we're going to step down or roll down into our fold. Soften the knees, right leg steps back. Big breath in, left foot steps back. Scoop the hips up high. Hands to feet. Now, if you can, see if you can come a little narrow with your base. So you're just hip width apart with your squat. If that's not comfortable for you, then obviously go wide base. Otherwise, we're just trying to squat with a different base. Makes it a little bit more challenging from our balance as well. Okay, drop the hands. So as we come through our forward fold, we're going to shift the weight into the left leg. We roll up slowly Right leg's going to come up. So we place the right foot either on our ankle, our calf, or we come above the knee. Just don't be on the knee. Yeah, it's a real bugbear of mine. I hate seeing tree pose when you've got the foot on the knee. And the reason being, if you've got your foot on your knee, if I show you and you have a little bit of a wobble, there's a really good chance that you can do that. Yeah, you're going to jar it, lock it out. It's just such a bad habit to get into. So try and be above it or below it. Squash the foot into the thigh if you find it slips. Remember, bare legs stick, so if you've got shorts on, bare feet, you probably find that your foot won't slip so much. Let that hip open out. Arms come up. Pelvis is upright. Squeeze your shoulders together. Hold it and breathe. But I would rather you be here on your calf than on your knee. So if you can't quite get above the knee, and remember you can hold. If you did it when you were lying on the ground, it's just a strength thing. So use support, hold it with your hand. It's another way of just getting beyond that. And then as you get stronger, you can hold it without. Okay, release back to the ground. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, drop. Soften the knees. We're going to walk out to plank. Scoot the hips up. Feet to hands. Roll yourself up. Last time through then, so exhale, we drop. Left foot steps back. Big breath in, right foot steps back. Coming back up, so scoop the hips up high. If you can, challenge even more, feet together this time. So we walk back and try and get down into a real narrow base squat. Much more challenging, a lot of balance going on here. And again, for some people, it's proportions that just won't allow you, so don't force it if it doesn't feel comfortable. So as we come through our fold, we shift our weight into our right leg and we roll up slowly. So as we lift, left leg's going to come up, whether it's calf, ankle, come up to the inner thigh. Bucket is upright, chest is lifted. Reach the arms up, squeeze the shoulders in. Hold it and breathe. Okay, try and come out slow if you can. Okay, inhale, reach up, exhale, drop to your forward fold. Look forwards, we're going to move out to plank. Hips lift up high, walk to the front of your mat and roll up to your back bend. Shake everything loose. Brilliant, guys, well done. Right, we're going to finish with a little, hopefully my radiator's cooled down enough, yeah. We're going to finish with little legs up the wall. We'll do an external rotation, a wide leg stretch, and we'll do a little outer hip and thigh. So if you haven't got wall space nearby, you're just going to use a chair or legs up on the sofa or something instead. But otherwise, come down slow. Try to come down without using your hands if possible. And you're just going to position it so that your bottom is quite close to the bottom of your chair or the sofa or the bottom of the wall. Yeah, so as we lift our legs up, we're kind of supported. Have a little wriggle here. Get really comfortable. Feel that your back is flat. Relax the head. Shake everything loose. And then let your legs rotate out and then let them come wide. Oh, I've just left marks on my wall. Right. Hold it there. Just feel that stretch through the inner thigh. So you just feel that nice stretch. Letting the legs just get heavier. Try not to fight it. So, you know, our tendency is to squeeze the bum. Just feel that your legs are floppy. If it's dead easy, you can just start to gently press or pull outwards. But it kind of frees up your hands. So you can use, you know, find anywhere that you've got a particularly tight spot or a sore spot. And just rest the hand there. Sometimes just by connecting, your muscles let go a little bit more. Okay, just hold it for a couple more breaths. And then start to bring the legs together. If it helps, you could use the hands, a little bit of an assist. So we're going to keep the left leg up, the right leg going across, let the right knee tip out. And then we're just going to bring this left foot and walk it down the wall. So we're trying to get this external rotation. You should feel a really good deep stretch outside of your right hip, thigh, buttock muscle. If you're not doing this against the wall, you can just do this version, yeah, where you've got the foot planted and you're going to grab hold of the leg, maybe extend the leg up. So that's your alternate if you haven't got access to something to lift your legs and rest them upon. Okay, changing sides. So right leg up, left leg's going to cross, let the knee rotate outwards. Bring that right foot down. Feeling the stretch outside of your left hip, thigh and buttock muscle. Bit of a piriform stretch as well, this one. Okay, and then release. And just let the legs go floppy now. So have them about hip width, toes are soft, ankles are soft. Arms are going to drop either out to the side, they can go behind you, they can rest on the belly, whatever feels comfortable. But close your eyes. So inverted pose is obviously going to increase oxygen to the brain, they increase pressure, stimulate thyroid, boost your energy. So they're great for energizing the body if you're doing a morning yoga practice. I wouldn't recommend doing them last thing at night though, because otherwise you might find that you're too awake to get to sleep properly. But also very good for just taking pressure off the legs, increasing circulation, good for lymphatic drainage as well. So inverted pose is very beneficial, but little and often if you're not used to them. But we're just going to finish here just with some easy breaths. So just let your eyes close, let your face soften. Start to just breathe big, filling up the lungs as you inhale. Empty them fully like a big sigh as you exhale. Drop your shoulders. And on every exhale, I just want you to imagine your body's getting heavier and softer, and as if you're just kind of melting into whatever it is you're connecting with, whether it's the floor, the wall. Okay, start to just wake yourself up gently, wiggle your fingers and toes. Open your eyes slowly. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to stretch through the upper body, arms reach behind, and then let your arms fold back in and start to walk your feet off the wall or off the chair. So you can kind of hug your knees up. We're going to take a little longer to come up. So obviously if you've done inverted movement, never just come up quickly, otherwise you're going to get dizzy no matter how fit and healthy you are. You're going to get that kind of rush of blood away from the head, and it's going to make you feel a little bit lightheaded. So always take your time. Come onto your right side. So we're moving away from the heart. And then very gently, we're just going to come all the way up to our seated position. Just sit comfortably, finishing with 2 good breaths in. So inhale, arms are going to come up. And release. And again, big inhale. And release. Brilliant, guys. Thank you very much for joining me. Namaste. Just a quick mention, next week I'll be sending out emails to everybody that's on my mailing list, telling you about starting back to real classes. So if you do want to be including that, make sure that I've got your email address, that you can normally get newsletters from me regularly, or I'll be posting it on Facebook as well. We've got 1 more week left of live online classes, so Facebook classes and this Friday class on YouTube, and then I'm back to work. I'm back to real kind of classes, so I won't be able to carry on doing these. So do let me know what you want to see for next week's session, if there's anything in particular, but otherwise have a lovely weekend, and hopefully I will actually get to see some of you for real in the next couple of weeks. Take care. Thanks, guys.